think it's fine. Yeah, good enough. Good enough of a setup. Cool. What other questions do you guys got? What other struggles are happening right now? Other than, of course, we know the market. Market sucks right now. Let me know where you're from. If you pop in a question, feel free to like start it with where you're from, even the country you live in. That's always fun. It's always fun to see where you guys are from. Mm-mm-mm. I'm working on a project that I want to tell you guys about. I'm pretty excited. I've been noodling on it for like, I don't know. It's had to have been at least like 3 weeks now, but I'm finally starting to like flesh it out and it's coming together. And it's also potentially a big collaborative effort with some other design creators. I don't know. I don't know if they'll agree with it or want to join in, but I'm gonna see if some folks want to collaborate on it. Hey, Umar, nice to see you. I was just talking about this, yeah, putting together this project. Basically, been working on a marketing plan because that's always just like the most overwhelming. I don't do marketing. I don't know anything about it. But there's also the logistics of the design challenge. That's what I'm thinking about. I'm thinking about a design challenge that people can sign up for with an emphasis on articulating design decisions versus just like the standard kind of daily UI, like daily UI inspired, but a lot more intentional. So, anyways, I'll talk about that a little bit more. But I've kind of started like fleshing out one of the challenges today, and I'm like, oh shit, this is pretty cool, and actually would be like such a juicy, nice case study for in anybody's portfolio. So pretty stoked about it. Can't wait. I did have one creator reach out to me. Potentially wanting to collaborate on it. So I'm hoping to hear from more, but we'll see. Might have to target some of them specifically and tackle them. No, I don't know. We'll see. Hey, hey, welcome. So yeah, I see a few questions specifically about AI. Are you guys not sick of hearing about AI? Like that's all my LinkedIn feed is now. And honestly, Instagram. For my like UX like focused stuff. But like, are you guys not sick of hearing about it? Because it's just like everywhere. It's like, is it gonna replace our jobs? What are they gonna do to the role? Like, I don't know. Let me ask AI if I'm sick of it. I don't know that AI can tell you your own emotions, your own feelings. But yeah, good start if you can't figure it out for yourself. But is it, yeah, is it just more noise? Yeah, I don't know. It just the hype is real, and I work in big tech, big corporate tech, and it's a lot of what we can talk about, but I'm also just saying, like, everybody jumping in on the new tools, and it's like, then this tool and this tool, and I don't know. I'm a little bit over it. I mean, it's cool and it's fun, but, like, I don't know. Mm, mm, mm. Real sunshine and blue sky from Northern Ireland. That's a rarity, I feel like. What do you guys get, like 3 days of sunshine up there? I was out at the Cliffs of Moher one time and the just the densest of fog. I don't think we could see probably, I don't know, 50 feet, 20 meters in front of us. It was so dense. Couldn't see the, gigantic cliff that you were standing on. But it did end up, I think, kind of blowing away more towards like the second or third hour that we were out there. And so we could kind of see the cliff line of the Cliffs of Moher. But that's what I think of Ireland. I think of very dense gray fog clouds. It's not. 2 different here in the Netherlands. Not so much fog, but definitely just gray and like a constant drizzle. So yeah. Not AI still thinks good UX is adding a chatbot to everything, literally everything. And I love seeing now so much research and the reporting coming out that like the actual added value of a lot of these chatbots is like nil. And imagine how much money is being spent on this stuff. It's like, can we wait a second to figure out how to do it right versus just like cramming it into every product that exists? Thank you. That'd be great. Oh my gosh. It's just like we just want to like we want to make shareholders happy. We want to look like we're not behind. But it's like, but what problem is it solving? And is it actually solving it? Can we please like take a second to evaluate that before we're just like, I don't know, shipping it in every way, shape, and form? I just saw a posting for a UI designer, 3 years of experience, 40 hours a week, remote. Pay is 2 grand a month, 800 to 2 grand a month, depending on your skill level. Yikes. Where okay, it's remote, so what is that cost of living? If it's remote, you better move somewhere the cost of living is really, really, really low. Is it time zone restricted though? I guess there's still like a lot of different places you could live in the individual time zone, but yeah, yeah, yikes. 3 years of experience. And I assume that's USD as well, 800 to 2,000. Yeah, that's skimming the bottom line. That's not even that's barely a rent payment. That's not a rent payment here in the Netherlands unless you're like sharing with multiple people. So yeah, it's not gonna cover it. It's not gonna be good. And then of course if you're remote and if it's a contract position, you don't get any other benefits. So you have all those costs to just on your out of pocket. Yikes, that's crazy. Cool. Sorry, everybody on TikTok, hang on for your dear lives because my phone is delicately balanced and you're going to see it and feel like you're rocking back and forth if I touch the screen. So, let me just make sure I didn't miss any questions over here. Mm-mm-mm. So, okay. Talking about advice. Do you have any advice on how to improve from just doing visual? Um, in your portfolio, and you have a background in fine arts and are a professor. Wow, use that to your advantage, please. Thank you. Oh, yep, so here we go. I told you. It's gonna be a mess. I don't have like a stand, I don't have anything. I'm in my new like office space. Okay, so you're a professor. So you have a background in fine arts, and therefore your portfolio is mostly visually based. Um, Yeah, you just great. You got the visuals down. Now you need to figure out the rest. You need to figure out how to articulate a case study that clearly outlines the problem statements. Ideally, you'd be looking at you'd be able to kind of note any research. That's, I guess, would be the next step is you need to figure out how to do the research behind because design isn't just visual, especially UX and product design. It is problem solving. So it's cool that you got visual skills in the bag, but at the end of the day, you need to show off your problem solving skills. And case studies are your way of telling your story and your thought process through that. So if you want, you can go download my learning guide, and there's like a dot point list of what you should include in every case study. And I would start there. And there's also ways to, if you don't have work currently to show that, like where to find work as well, whether fake or real, to be able to like showcase your articulation of problems in your portfolio. But that's kind of where I would start because it's nice that you have visual skills theoretically in the bag, but problem solving and your thinking is way more important. So, did I miss anything? Da, da, da. AI is worried about my mental health, and if I mean I'm sick of the internet. Dude, take a break. Step away. Like, do a digital detox. That's, like, a huge thing now. So, like, know when you need to step away. I work as a front-end dev, market is bad. Dude, market's bad for designers as well. The market's bad for tech in general, like, across the board. I don't think anybody's particularly safe. However, I will say in most layoffs, if you look at the percentages, developers are usually lower percentages of what is being laid off. So if you're in a group of designers, then you're usually the safer one. But yeah. Ah, okay, cool. I feel like I was holding my breath answering those questions for some reason. How's everybody on YouTube doing? What's going on? What's going on YouTube? I'm reworking my portfolio and struggling a bit with my hero messaging. Was told to lean towards a niche, but I don't have that niche experience. Yep. And I'm down for any design work. What do you recommend? And you're also existing. That's nice. Glad you're existing. Hanging in there. Um, yeah, this is a really interesting one because it's like you don't want to niche down too hard to say that you're like, oh, I only do fintech B2B or something like that, because realistically, yeah, you're could apply to something a little bit more broad than that. What I like to do is kind of, and I've seen work quite well, is that do something kind of generic, say, kind of your differentiation statement, but then say that you are specializing in something and you don't necessarily have to have any experience doing it necessarily. You can just say that you're specializing it because for the most part, if as long as you can understand it and you can show that you understand it, you usually get away with it. So for example, what I used to do is I really wanted to get into service design way back in the day, and I just changed my portfolio to say whatever it said, specializing in service design, and then I would actually, apply for jobs that, yeah, had service design as a key criteria. Not as, like, just a service designer, because I also didn't wanna do that necessarily, but yeah, and it helped differentiate me because it called out that core skill that they were looking for, which makes you stand out more than just like the generic headline hero messaging. Because it's really hard to make that hero messaging not something that any designer can just copy and paste. But even though you're kind of you would be down to do any design work, I think for the most part, especially now, it's better to kind of have a little bit of a niche, saying you're specialized. You can say and, you can say service design and, uh, I mean, everybody's saying AI right now, but service design and advanced prototyping or something, whatever it might be. But then if it, that specialization should be the types of roles that you intend to target, apply for anyways. Um, and then if anything else comes along, if you apply for other kind of roles and stuff, where that don't necessarily require the specialized skills, that's fine too. But it does help differentiate you that just a little bit more than the probably 50 other portfolios that hiring manager is looking at that has a pretty kind of generic statement. So it is a little bit of a struggle, but if you can kind of angle yourself that way, I've always seen it benefit people, including myself. So yeah. Oh man, I had a cool call today. I ended up like randomly meeting with one of the previous like product directors at AJ and Smart. Do you guys know what that is? If you've done any form of workshop, research, anything, design sprint, you've thought about design sprints. I think they did their book is called like Design Sprint 2.0 or something. It's massive. It's probably the design book. No, you haven't heard of it? Well, you should look them up. If you do any form of, I don't know, design thinking, workshopping, or you want to in your career, definitely look them up. They're such a good resource. But basically, they're a consultant agency, and they just go around to massive companies. And I'm talking Adidas, I'm talking Amazon, I'm talking Google, and they help leadership and design orgs like basically get their strategic decisions made, which is very cool. Anyways, I ended up meeting with one of their previous product directors. He's off doing something different now, and he's actually working for the company as a consultant for the company that I'm working at right now. But it was just like a random call. He's like, I think his team reached out to me and was like, "Hey, really want to meet with you because the project that they're doing is basically like my work." And for they took a lot of my work, if I'm being perfectly honest, in the short term. And but yeah, and then I jump in. He's like, "Oh, I'm the founder of this company." I'm like, "Oh my god, I thought I was meeting with your team and talking about, I don't know, very small things." And he ended up interviewing me for an hour, which was cool. And his background is super, super cool. It's very rare I like end up kind of directly one on one with somebody who I'm super, super impressed with, and has like a crazy impressive track record. And he was one of them. So that was really cool. Um, You're taking the UX portfolio course, and it's helped me a lot to take. Yeah, my previous experience was a call center manager. Okay, so service design works totally. Also, management, because if you have any management skills, I don't know if you a call center manager has direct reports or anything, but if you're again, it's all about the roles that you're looking for. So if you're looking for management roles, then you would say something like specializing in talent acquisition or upskilling designers or something along those lines if you're looking for a management role specifically. So that could be a cool angle too, depending on. But if you're not, if you're just like more IC focused, then yeah, service design or um, it could be process improvements. It could be a lot of different stuff. But again, think of it as a two-way thing. Roles that you want, and then also the roles and responsibilities that you're seeing in the job descriptions of the companies that you actually want to work for. You're recently out of a boot camp, so I figured it would be too quick to go with the manager. I mean, if you have management experience, definitely don't leave it out. Maybe it's not, yeah, you're like your headline, but I could still see you including that as your experience, right? Because like, yeah, it could track a really nice growth trajectory for you for sure. So, what's something you could learn, gain from working with junior designers? Um, I mean, I think the biggest thing that I learn as a design leader working with anybody less senior than me is just my ability to flex my communication style for different people. The company that I work at has people from, I think, I can't remember the last time we checked it. It was like from like 250 countries or districts or whatever we call regions, whatever. But 250 places all around the world. And I'm not talking just like, like a little subset. No, it's like all the way from China to the United States to Canada to Cyprus to whatever. Like we work with people really from so many different backgrounds and cultures, and communication styles are not the same for every culture. And being an American, I have a particular way to communicate that I communicate well with other Americans. But if I were to communicate with somebody from, let's say, South America, for example, very different communication style, not as direct, a little bit more kind of passive, and finding the ability and the way to flex your communication style to still move things forward, make people feel heard, create psychological safety, all these other things. Like, I think that's the biggest thing that you learn from working with people. If you're, I would say, a good leader, um, is what you try to do. You try to adapt in order to find the right method to help that person grow, to learn, to et cetera, et cetera. And it's not just cultural based, of course, it's every individual based. Again, for me, I prefer very blunt and direct input, but that's not going to work for everybody. That's going to really offend some people. So, how I can provide feedback to in a in different ways to actually get through to more like junior people. Um, yeah, definitely that's what you learn um, as like a design leader, or you should be learning. Oh, hey, Oscar. Nice. You're working you're working updating your portfolio and this is the perfect podcast. This is the perfect live to just have on in the background. Yeah, you finally made it. Nice. Welcome like during the time versus like watching the recording. So that's cool. Mm-mm-mm. Okay. I've hit a wall a bit in my career as a designer, 5 years. Any tips? Oh, okay. Tell me more. What level are you? What type of company do you work in? What else do I need to know to help? Let's start with that. I think I can help from that. Okay. Let's see. What advice would you give to someone who's barely starting in UX? Portfolio advice, how many case studies, for example? So, Ronnie, gonna have to. If the people who regularly attend these are so annoyed with me saying this all the time, but go download my learning guide. It has everything you need. I've put it together for this exact question. It's on my website, and it literally walks you through step by step, like what you need when you're starting out, all the portfolio advice, how to get case study work, how many case studies, how to structure case studies, how to structure portfolios. So, like, that is your go to. Yes. Okay. Let me see if we have more information on. So tabs, you should give me more information about why you've hit a wall at 5 years in. Why, I guess, like, why do you feel like you've hit a wall? I'd be really curious. Mm. Have I worked with Filipino UXers? Specifically from the Philippines. I can think of one. I can think of one UXer specifically from the Philippines. I've definitely worked with quite a lot of UXers from Southeast Asia, Thailand, um, Indonesia, but I think only one from the Philippines. That I can recall in memory, that it's not just in like maybe others in passing. So yeah. Mm-mm-mm. I was thinking for your future lives, maybe it would be good to have these links in each of our lives. It seems like a frequent question, in my humble opinion. You're correct. You're absolutely right. And I have, in previous ones, shared links as I go. I can't do it over on TikTok because I'm kind of like locked into the recording, but I can do it on YouTube. So I'm going to do that right now. Thanks, Oscar. So this is the learning I was talking about. Nice. You're right. And it would be cool if I could have them like pinned as well or something. That'd be good. But here we are. So, let's see. I'm a solo designer in a small product company. We struggle with structuring, gathering user feedback. We have feedback from users writing to us directly, insights from research, mostly from my exploratory internet, Reddit discussions. We need to organize these. Ooh, with caring for basic need and planning. More strategically, I'm looking into Jira product discovery. It could help us collect in place how many workflow, big challenge in choosing what will have the most impact. Oh man, there was a tool. So maybe it would have like easier plugins or something along those lines. But God, what was it called? Chattermill, maybe? I mean, this is a question for ChatGPT for sure. Yeah, feedback analytics, the number one. Yes. Okay. This is one tool. I'll link it in YouTube, but it's called Chattermill. I'd highly recommend at least looking into the functionality of that tool. But essentially, what it is you can kind of aggregate all of your input like that. I would say more of your passive input would be super good. Like you're saying, you get insights kind of passively through user feedback and stuff. I would say if you're doing proactive exploratory interviews. Ooh, Reddit discussions, that's super interesting. But yeah, if you're doing, anyways, more of your passive insights, I would have if you can get an automation into a tool like Chattermill, then you can do a sentiment analysis, you can categorize by keywords, you can do word clouds, et cetera, et cetera. Basically, it allows you to have a lot of tools to kind of find the core themes. I used to do a monthly report using a tool like this to basically influence our product backlog to say, hey, these are the things that people are struggling with. But I don't know that kind of aggregating everything together would be great. Maybe Reddit discussions, maybe just ongoing input feedback. But if you're doing interviewing, user testing, anything that's kind of a standalone, has a core purpose, qualitative kind of research, I'd probably keep that as a separate initiative, but more so like, yeah, passive stuff would be great. But yeah, sentiment analysis is super, super helpful for like getting items on the backlog that show very particular user pain points because all those complaints, all those things, then you can just have a tool that like helps you sift through, find the patterns and categories that are coming through, and then you propose like solutions for them, right? So yeah, just super good. Mm-mm-mm. Yeah, totally. So definitely yeah, give that a thought. Also, Zuzanna as a last name, pretty cool. Never seen that. My grandma's name was Suzanne, and so it's throwing me off a little bit, but very neat last name. Okay, let's see. I want to get back over here. Okay, we're getting back to tabs. Who feels like they've hit a wall? Okay, you've been at a company for 2 years. It's a company, 200 to 500 people. Blah, 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 I'm just making sure. Yeah. Okay. I'm still wondering why you've hit a wall in your career. But that being said, I have something for you. If you go, again, you're on TikTok over here, but I'm gonna share it on YouTube. But I put together something exactly for designers who are feeling a bit stuck or lost in their design career. It's a little bit of a newsletter I put together, but it is a bit of a step-by-step guide that you can start to take in figuring out your next step, whether that's staying with your company and doing something about it, or it's moving companies and looking for a new position. But it is in my Substack. Wait, can I just, maybe I can just, hang on, let me try. I'm try put it over here and do this, see if my computer crashes. Boom. I don't know if that came through, but I did post a link in the chat. Otherwise, it's in my Substack, and it's called, "What to Do When You're Feeling Lost or Stuck in Your Design Career." So, could probably really help you out. I just cover a lot of things that's like, figuring out your preferences. So you're 5 years, you're pretty into the career, but honestly probably haven't explored a bunch of different stuff, especially if you've been already 2 years in a kind of a mid-sized level company. But yeah, talk about, do you kind of like more solo or team collaboration? Do you like to have more guidance or a bit of freedom, more autonomy? Do you like that startup culture or do you like to work for that established company? Anyways, there's like 25 questions to kind of assess, like for your own preferences, what you actually like. And then I kind of walk you through a bit of a targeted job search. So you can kind of evaluate your own position and see if it fulfills those preferences without any kind of bias of where you're currently sitting. But then, yeah, you can kind of then do an honest evaluation of your skill set and what it might take to get yourself into a position that you actually enjoy and don't feel blocked or stuck in. So yeah, definitely have a look at that. There's a Substack link on my website if you want to check it out. Mm-mm-mm. Nice. Nice. I love seeing people chat to each other in the chat. That brings me joy. That's cool. But. Oh, hello from Thailand. Nice. I love Thailand. I've been a couple times. Very cool over there. Very jealous of your seasons and how it doesn't really get that cold. Okay, let's see. Have I missed any questions? How do you think AI is shaping the industry? Let's see. No, 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 no. Yeah. Okay, Ronnie's asking, besides that, how do you think AI is shaping the industry? So I just started off this live by saying I'm sick of hearing about AI, but it's super important and it's yeah, it's kind of like the hypiest thing we can talk about, but man, there's so much just unnecessary content as well. But AI is shaping the industry for designers. It is shaping the industry, but I always throw it back to it's shaping the industry the same way that when before mobile apps was a thing, before video was a thing in kind of digital experiences, and that kind of revolutionized like the capabilities that designers had to design for. Uh, didn't know what you could do with video before video existed. Native apps have a lot more capabilities than what you can do just like base, websites, etc. And AI is the same way. There's a lot more that you can do in your product designs um, that are enabled by AI, hyper personalization and contextualization, modular UI, a bunch of stuff. And so it's changing the landscape in which we can design for, and it's more complex and difficult to test. And have has everything been figured out yet? Absolutely not, not even close. But that's the way that I think it's kind of shaping the industry. Equally, yes, it is also taking away, just like the kind of creation of design systems took away a lot of the autonomy designers had, creating like designs from scratch and stuff like that. So if you work for any even mid-level company, you have a design system, you can't necessarily build from scratch. It doesn't make sense. It's the same thing. It does take away some of our job. It takes away some of the tedium, but it's also a huge assistant as well. So the bar is going to be higher for designers, and you're going to have to figure out how to meet that bar. But I don't necessarily think that's a bad thing. Tech, technology, designing for tech has always been a moving target. And I'm not sure why people thought it wasn't. Like the reaction is if it wasn't a moving target, but it's always been a moving target. So you have to evolve, you have to adapt. That's kind of what is, I mean, depending on who you are, but that's what is so cool about being a designer in tech is that it doesn't get stagnant. It doesn't get boring. Stuff like this happens. Stuff like AR and VR get really hyped, and then designers are designing for that, et cetera, et cetera. So things evolve, things change. Are our jobs going anywhere? No, but they are going to evolve. So that's my hot take on like AI impacting exactly what we do. Am I missing anything? Yeah. Where can I truly learn to build efficient design systems, videos, articles, etc.? Oof, I'm not a design systems expert, but I run into a lot of content out there about design systems. I don't think I'm the best person to point you towards the best, though. I know there's a lot. Uh, I feel like there's a lot of YouTube content. The way that I approach anything like that is I always go YouTube free first, and then once I have a solid foundation of and basically can identify the gaps that I have in the knowledge, um, then you figure out like, okay, well now I know what I need to learn in a course or something that maybe I'll invest a little bit more time and money in. But by then you should know kind of more what you're looking for, then you can invest the time and money that you think is worth kind of learning it. That's a very general kind of vague statement. I'm sorry I can't point you to like the best design system thing. It's just not my specialty necessarily. Oh my god, I'm glad to see you as well. If you've been here before, it's been a minute. Oh, sorry, that was my finger. Mm, what is going on here? If you jumped in the middle of my AI spiel, I can see why you asked that. Cool. Let's see. Da, da, da. Any, just, I'm going to say it right now. Any comments about my looks, about anything about me that's not related to UX, I'm completely ignoring if you can't already tell. So if you could just leave, that'd be cool. So obviously, I'm just orientating my focus, but I see them, and it's not great. So, do you use your skills in design outside of UX for any hobbies or personal interests? Not by choice. Not by choice at all. Every experience I go through, I evaluate unwillingly. So, and it's like menu designs, friggin', spatial systems within train systems. um, yeah, I mean, I don't know about yous particularly, but yeah, in terms of like hobbies or personal interests, I mean, my hobbies and personal interests kind of are UX related. So, like, what I'm doing right now is educating about UX. And then my hobbies include creating more content about educating for UX. But what other hobbies do I have? um, I mean, at the baseline, right? UX is just problem solving. So that pretty much applies to everything. My hobbies include interior home renovation designs. So, but I can't say that I've applied anything from UX to that. A lot of math involved, a lot more math than I'd appreciate, but here we are. Um, Bowling. I'm in a bowling league. I can't say I apply any UX thinking there. I'm gonna have to blanket and say no. That's a great question. You really got me thinking though. Like, is it no forcefully applied? I evaluate my experiences and like how they could be better, like through a designer's lens or any visual design that I really think is in a bad way. But my actual hobbies and interests, I'm gonna have to say no. So, you have an interview tomorrow. What should you do? Congrats. Prepare a lot. Be ready. Have questions ready. Look up common interview questions and have questions prepared. But yeah, definitely congrats for sure. That's very cool. What kind of role is it for? I'm curious. Mm-mm-mm. Oh, to the DIY. Yeah. So yeah, Oscar. Yeah, definitely like DIY for sure. A lot. I love DIY'd so much stuff in my house, from literal walls to like closets to drywall, painting, flooring. Ugh, so much stuff. Glass. I've installed windows. That's a talent I have now. I can put on my resume. Molding. I'm an expert in applying molding. I can say that confidently, but I won't do it for anybody else because it's so tedious. How is your desk workspace set up? Speaking of design and such, I figured it might reflect your design thought process, but I could be wrong. Okay. I actually just overhauled my desk space, and I wish I could show you on YouTube what it looks like. But if you follow me on Instagram, then you've maybe seen it. But I just replaced this desk. I had just an IKEA standing desk, which I love a standing desk. I'm not gonna lie. Love to be able to stand, but was I doing it even remotely often? No. So, but I just replaced it with an over 100-year-old desk that I bought on Facebook Marketplace or Marketplaats here in the Netherlands, and it's so sick. It is so cool. It's got these little slots for envelopes. I used to be really, really big into handwritten calligraphy. Actually, check this out. Is this a wand? No, it's a calligraphy pen. I used to be really, really heavy into dip pen calligraphy, to the point where I used to make money off of it. I got I got so good I started to make money, which I think is the true testament. but it was actually a way for me to step away from digital stuff. I was just so sick of being on the computer all the time. But yeah, so this is my dip pen. And then also my drawers are filled with every kind of colored pencil, marker, different random peds I've collected over time. Um, but yeah, I'm kind of moving into this like I want more stuff with like character in my house. I'm actually DIYing my hood range. Oh wait, oh different angles. That's TikTok. That's YouTube. I'm DIYing this hood range, so I'm like cutting the individual dowels and then posting those up, and I'm going to stain them. So we're talking a lot about my life. I just noticed. But yeah, got a plant, two monitors set up, extremely important. I've gotten better at audio since I've done these lives, but lots of plants. And I did design this entire room. So all the glass that you're seeing behind me, I've also got glass surrounding the front of me. I'm looking out at my garden right now. I designed this entire room. And made my architect was actually like really adamant about doing something more modern, but my house is from the 1920s, and I was like, cool. Now it's not. I'm not gonna have the front of the house look like it's from the 1920s and the back of the house look like it's from the 2020s, right? We're not gonna do that. So yeah, we meshed it all together. If you can see the beam right up there, I did all the molding on that, which you probably can't see. You can see my stained glass. Nope, TikTok can't see it, but YouTube can. Stained glass at the front of the house back there. Anyways, yeah, that's like my whole desk setup. There's a lot of intention and thought into it. I actually had my desk angled this way and then a completely different background. And every time I popped on a video, I was like, I can't stand this background. I reorientated my entire office. Anyways, sorry. Okay, let's see. Let's get back to questions. Why is auto layout and responsive design so difficult? Auto layout is a pain in the ass. I hate auto layout. There's some people can breeze by with auto layout, but you will catch me detaching components all the time. But that's because I can. I don't really do like production ready designs anymore. It is an absolute pain. It's a huge pain. It's not the easiest thing in the world. Responsive design though, I'm not sure about that. I think that one just comes with a little bit more practice. I especially think that, like, as when you get quite adept with designing and thinking about responsive, like, as you're doing one design, whether you do mobile first or desktop first, you can kind of see the way, or you design it in such a way that you can see how it will break down or expand into the other viewports. Um, but I do think that just comes with practice, and it's not. I don't think it's kind of like snap your fingers kind of thing. But just practice. That's what it comes down to. Sorry, I'm gonna get over here to TikTok real quick. So many people on YouTube tonight, and so many good questions. So let's see. How are the Netherlands? So good. It's beautiful here at the moment. Look at me. Look at this no jacket moment. I'm not in a sweater, not in a coat, not in a house coat. It's so nice and warm. I've just been living my dream in the Netherlands. I feel like a completely different person when the sun is out in the Netherlands. What made you want to go to the Netherlands for UX? I did no, I didn't. I didn't want to go to the Netherlands for UX. I actually just wanted to travel Europe, and that's what I did. And then I wanted to extend that travel through Europe because it was the first time I'd ever left the States. And in order to do that, I needed to make money. So I ended up applying at a bunch of different places: Zurich, Barcelona. I think Copenhagen was up there. But the company I work at now, Booking, had reached out to me the year I graduated uni back in 2013. And I had gotten to the point where they were going to fly me out for an interview. But I was like, dude, I cannot, I cannot completely like uh, change countries at the moment. So but they're in the back of my mind. So when I came here in 2017, I hit them up, right? I was like, hey, remember me? Let's talk. And they flew me out of Madrid because I was in Madrid at the moment and did an all day interview, literally from like 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. got a call in the evening at like 7 p.m., got the job, but they're like, "But you can't start for a month because paperwork, whatever." And I was like, "Cool, I don't know where I'm gonna be in a month. Can I let you know?" So they said, "Yeah." Traveled around Europe for the rest of that month. They flew me out of Prague, and now it's 8 years later. So I didn't necessarily like come to the Netherlands specifically. However, I will say the Netherlands does have a bit of a partnership with with America. So they kind of make transitions a lot easier for Americans than if you lived for other countries. So the transition was quite easy. Also, the company handled everything, handled all my paperwork, my moving, like just made it the absolute easiest thing to ever do ever. Because if I had to figure all that stuff out on my own, it'd be super overwhelming. But yeah, you're debating on leaving UX or the Netherlands? I'm gonna need clarity on that one. Ever thought about launching a podcast? I actually do a monthly podcast. Hot tip. I actually do a monthly podcast. It's just not under my name. I do it with Naz over on Design Ops Aligned. Oh, I'm already on YouTube. How do I do this? But yeah, we do a monthly stuff, and it is raw and fun, and we cover a lot of topics, a lot of good stuff. But yeah, it's called Modus Operandi. And if you type my name, Miranda Slater, uh, I guess I think if you just type my name, it'll come up. But yeah, lots of good episodes under there. I'm gonna share it YouTube now. But it's a lot of fun. We cover so many topics. But yeah, that is my top out limit of podcasts. I don't think I could do any more than once a month. But Naz is also a great host, and that's like the only reason I do it. I think I could just do it on my own very well. So studying game dev and programming now, but really in the UI UX. Any suggestion? Ooh, very cool. I think getting to know the fundamentals of UX and UI is really going to benefit you as a game dev. Anyways, UX and UI fundamentals is going to be pretty universal across any digital um, experience for the most part, but there are nuances to like game UX and UI as well. So I would say like definitely start with the fundamentals of UX and UI. Again, my learning guide. Once you get through that, then I'd start to like go into the speciality of like a game UX and UI. And I know there's a lot of content on YouTube specifically about it. There's a few people that pop up in my feed every now and then, I think. But yeah, that's how I'd start. I'd definitely learn the fundamentals and then start to like niche off a little bit as well. UX and CX are so underrated in business forever and always. We are the odd stepchild, I must say, but that everybody comes to with all of their problems. Isn't that a summary of like um, everything? Like, isn't that a summary of what we do? It's like we're so undervalued, but everybody comes to us with our problem. But then, like, also when we want to like address the problem correctly, um, they're like, "Wait, why is this taking so long?" UX design for the gaming industry? Oh yeah, yeah. I don't know. You're Oscar. You have to expand on that question, but yeah, the fundamentals of UX across gaming and just like base mobile, but base digital platforms is pretty much the same. Of course, all the principles are the same, but then you definitely have niche and nuanced stuff for specifically for game. And there's also a difference between if you're doing like different platforms, right? If you're, I don't know, PlayStation, Xbox kind of platforms versus mobile games, different stuff. Yeah, different nuances between those, which is a good speciality. Make a playlist of UX concepts and AI. Make a playlist. I don't know what you mean by that. Debating on leaving the US given how moving to another country sounds daunting. Honestly, staying sounds daunting, and moving to another country sounds daunting. Dude, yeah, the stuff that's going on in the US right now, absolutely bonkers. I'm not going to get into it, but yeah, being an American, I'm still inundated with everything that's going on over there, and my family is all still back there and everything. And it's literally watching a car wreck happen all the time. So yes, it might be daunting to stay there, but at the same time, like life, adventure, ways of living, work-life balance, healthcare. There's so many things that other countries can provide more benefits of. There are other cons. There's absolutely cons. You have to do your research, of course, but like, you know, I definitely advocate exploring it. It might seem daunting, but I was just looking, for example, Belize, extremely easy um, to go there. Again, you have to consider work and all these other different aspects and stuff, but like, if you could have an intermission between figuring out where you're gonna like stick and live, like Belize, for example, you can get a 30-day visa, no problem, no reason. You just have to refresh it every 30 days. Cool, 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 cool. Like, uh, and if you want to start a business, they let you start businesses. Like every country has different nuances and stuff, but it is surprisingly easy in some places, and it's just a matter of like knowing which what suits you, basically. Oh, vibe coding. God, I'm hearing that word a lot, and I'm not here for it. Okay, let me see. Yeah, I feel like gaming UX is very much lacking in the educational YouTube space. It's very mysterious. Like, who can I follow to learn more about UX in the game industry? Ooh, that is an extremely good question. Select two objects that are the same shape. Okay, TikTok has me doing a I'm not a robot challenge. Okay, there we go. Man, you're right. I don't know off the top of my head. I know that there are quite a few game devs that cover like UX and UI in some of the products and games that they build, but like in terms of explicit game development, UX and UI, I don't know anybody off the top of my head. If anybody has recommendations or knows UX folks in the game industry, drop their names definitely. But yeah, I can't think of any off the top of my head. It's such a small subset of like the UX industry as a whole, even though the game industry is absolutely massive. But yeah, it's an interesting point. What industry could you transfer your UX skills which are not solely digital based? Um, I mean, again, kind of baseline problem solving, but if it's not digital space, like the next closest thing I always think of is spatial design. Architectural design is like a lot of people come from architecture actually into UX. I think you could go the other way. Is it far more advanced and do you need a lot of education? Yes. But UX designers I've seen transition to like spatial design. So uh, yeah, what are they calling it these days? Like the designs and infrastructures of stores, like store layouts and stuff like that, or museums, which sometimes is a mix of digital and kind of analog experiences, which is kind of cool. Can anybody think of anything else? What would really be transferable from UX? Like super adjacent for that. Hmm. Yeah, I think kind of architectural, interior, I think those are some of the skills that transfer for sure. And just kind of that like, yeah, design thinking, way of thinking. That's the most immediate I can think of. Yeah. Yeah, of course, any of the soft skills. So if you're an excellent communicator, if you are, yeah, great at articulating problems, if you have any of the soft skill that kind of comes with being a good designer, yeah, and any and all of those will be transferable to pretty much any industry what's like ever. You could go work at McDonald's, and if you're a better communicator than most people, you'll probably move up in the ranks quicker than others, right? So I think yeah, just with soft skills generally. Um, the Sorry, I'm reading questions. Um, yeah, soft skills are, yeah, for the most part, kind of transferable across everything. How do you get your foot in the door once you complete your UX design certification? Your design certification is kind of like the absolute bare minimum that you can do in for yourself in UX. So yeah, you have to do quite a lot more work on top of that. Even somebody like me who did an actual formal bachelor's degree, I did so much more on top of that bachelor's degree. I started doing unpaid internships my first year into university because that's just the way this industry works. You have to do way more than just like an education thing. Some people slip in really easily, but for the most part, it's quite hard. But yeah, you go download my learning guide because it takes you through the next steps after you get a design certification. It talks about your portfolio, getting work in your portfolio, finding work once you have a portfolio, et cetera, et cetera. Kind of takes you through the next steps. Do you think it's extremely hard for a new person straight out of oh, just kind of answer this question. Hard for a new person straight out of a certificate program to get a job? Yeah, pretty much impossible. Pretty much impossible. You have to do a lot more than just get a certificate. A Even these days, a full bachelor's degree, master's degree, boot camp certificate literally doesn't matter. None of that education matters. It's all about what you can do with it and prove through your case studies and your interview process. Yeah, I don't know at any point that it's not been nearly impossible. There's been times in the industry, like during the pandemic, where the bar is extremely low. But you can, if I don't know, if you're a car salesman and you come out with a certificate and you can schmooze your way into a role, that's not what I'm talking about. If you have charisma for days and you can sell it and you can bluff it, yeah, you're probably going to get a job before most people, before experience, etc. But if you're like most of us, you have to go get um, experience, what usually typically by freelancing, startups, unpaid things, volunteering, all those kinds of things, and getting all of that evidence into your portfolio, and then being able to articulate yourself through interviews, etc., and be convincing on your strategic thinking. Okay. Yeah, hard truth. I'm not out here trying to like blow smoke up your guys' butt because I'm not going to do that. I'm going to tell you how it is. Whoop. No worries if you don't want to answer this, but was it hard to integrate into the Netherlands, like socially? Um, Honestly, no, because there's such a huge expat community here. So I think Amsterdam at one point, I don't know what the number is anymore, but like 50% of Amsterdam, for example, is all expats. And I'm talking from everywhere. So because everybody is from everywhere, nobody really like clicks necessarily into any one thing. Now, if you live in other places, if you had to go down to Utrecht's not great because that's still, but integrating into, like, Dutch communities is a bit more difficult, yes. One, language barrier. Two, that's just kinda how Dutch people are. Like, they have their tight communities, and then that's it. They don't really wanna expand. But there's such a huge expat community, always doing different things. There's meetups, there's all sorts of things that you can do to kind of integrate. And then also, if you're English speaking, it's really easy to get around. The Netherlands, it's very dominant. Unless you're like way off in the rural farmlands, you're not really going to run into too many people who can't speak it. Maybe you'll run into a contractor or two who can't, but for the most part, you can kind of get by. So integrating to like an absolute breeze from an American standpoint. Okay. Like, yeah. Um, let's see. Would you recommend someone specializing in a particular field such as UX in healthcare or UX in finance? And should I stay broad? I'm also interested in fashion design, so I wanted to include some of my designs in my portfolio. Okay, yes, I can answer this question, and I have a very strong opinion on it. I've been hired a billion designers. So right now, It is not a kind of broad general market. You will benefit yourself significantly if you kind of have a yeah, if a UX in healthcare, UX in finance, and then you're targeting companies that are specifically looking for a background in that experience. Just because the market is quite competitive right now, it can help you stand out. Because if you have, let's say, you're in a stack of 50 designers and they're all saying, I'm a great designer and can focus on user centricity and building high performing products. Cool. But if you come and say that plus specializing in healthcare, specializing in finance, the person's be oh, okay. Like immediately confirming that you have a bit of that background or the background that they're kind of looking for. Because companies right now don't have to, um, they can get exactly what they want, is basically what I'm about to say. Is like, they for the most part, you could be more of a general and not have explicit experience in kind of designing similar products as to what they're looking for, but right now, there's so many designers on the market, they know that they can get what they want. So, having something that makes you stand out a little bit more and answer the question that they have is like, "Do you know how to design for finance or B2B or B2C or service design?" Or whatever the kind of, like, thing is that they're looking for. Um, it is a benefit to designers right now to kind of like niche a little bit in that way. That doesn't mean you should only necessarily apply for those types of roles, but it will help you to kind of align that, I guess, targeting, almost like marketing yourself in that way to roles that are looking for that particular background for sure. You also into fashion design, very cool. You're not the only designer that is, and also a lot of designers are into like photography or other creative ventures. Don't include it in your portfolio. Or if you do, make it extremely secondary. So maybe include it as a way to kind of show your personality through. So maybe it comes through on your about page, or you have a completely dedicated section to like portfolio or sorry, fashion design, but don't at all in any way let it get in the way of your UX specific work. All it does is make people confused and and think that you're kind of like a little bit of a jack of all trades and that you're doing too much and therefore you're not very good at anything. So yeah, I would just make it incredibly secondary. And then if you're looking for fashion design jobs, because some people do that, they look for photography jobs and UX jobs like at the same time. Um, totally do that, but have like very dedicated pages so that you can link specifically to those dedicated pages. Or honestly, I would have completely separate portfolios if you could. Because then it's like there's no question, I'm not blurring the lines. I'm giving you exactly what you're looking for. But if you want it, yeah, I highly recommend including it as a part of like what differentiates you and something like your about page, something like that. But definitely don't kind of muddy the waters in a way in trying to include kind of all your interests. It just, yeah, it just makes it more difficult for recruiters or hiring managers. If I were to know more about business and making informed decisions, what would you recommend? My God, what a great segue to talking about something. I am currently working on something, and I'm working on setting up a it's probably going to be like a 10-week to 12-week design challenge. And essentially what it's going to be is I'm going to give you a starting design. I actually just worked on the first prompt today. I'm going to give you a starting screens. Let's say like a four flow, and I'm going to give you information about the key metrics, the key KPIs for the team, some user feedback, and then I'm going to be asking designers. This is going to be a weekly thing to then come up with their which one you have to have a bit of business understanding, so you have to figure that out, but also to redesign, create a new iteration of that design or flow or whatever, and explain your design rationale. So I took inspiration from like the daily UI challenge, which is just like a quick, lightweight prompt, which it's cool. And that level of discipline is something that got me really good at calligraphy. but it doesn't really work in today's like it's not really as valuable today's like product industry. So I'm putting together something that's going to allow designers to really focus on refining their articulation in their designs and also really exercising their critical thinking in the decisions that they're making about improving that design to either meet the business goals or user needs, etc. So I'm super excited about it. And I'm hopefully hoping to collaborate with some other design creators or just really talented senior designers. Um, and yeah, so I'm still in the process of making it, but I just made actually, maybe I can show YouTube. Do I want to do it? Yeah, let me hide like the result. How do I do this? I'm going to show this on YouTube. I'm not going to show it on TikTok because my phone's about to die on TikTok, but if I can share my screen. Yeah. So, for example, like I've taken these screens from Mobbin, but this is like the onboarding flow. And as you can see, you kind of come in, immediately greeted with like a way to kind of sign up, get your password, get it going. And like a I guess there's a billion of these now, but like a Deliveroo or a Uber or whatever. Anyways, it's a delivery service platform. But anyways, not spending too much time into the design. So you have a scenario and there's a high uninstall rate during onboarding, and there's also low re-engagement from users in underserved areas. And then you can see the kind of your challenges to reduce the number of uninstalls, and then also increase the attach rates. If I'm starting to speak a different language to you, this is your sign to probably improve your product understanding skills. But yeah, key insights, X number of new users uninstall within the first 3 minutes. Looking at these designs, like, why do you think that is? YouTube, feel free to answer. TikTok, I know you're not looking. But okay, 75% of users abandon the onboarding process when they're told their area isn't serviced. Okay, so we see, we're not serving your area. So why is it being abandoned? And then, anyways, we want to decrease those early uninstalls and then double the opt-in rate, essentially. Got some research insights, some actual user quotes, and then the task in completing it. I have the answer below, so I have to stop sharing my screen now. But that's the idea. Is oh no, wait. Oh, you're just seeing a black screen? That's super weird because I can see it on my screen. I guess it is top secret. Oh, you see it now. Okay. Only for the elite can apparently see it. Nobody on TikTok got to see it anyways. Oh, okay. It just showed up now. Wow, that lag time is insane. Okay, let me just zoom in a little bit. But yeah, so here are the designs I was just talking about. And so I was talking about, yeah, there's a really high kind of uninstall rate, and then there's a huge dropout rate once they figure out their location isn't serviced. So it's all about figuring out why that actually might be with some stats, user quotes, etc. Sorry, YouTube. I can't do two tabs at the same time. My bad. But that's the general idea. I'm still figuring it out. And yeah, nice. All you guys like with your emojis and letting me know you can't see it. That's not bad. No, they're from Mobbin. If you guys haven't heard about Mobbin, they are the best. They make finding actual screenshots. They have prototypes. They have videos. They are the bee's knees. Honestly, I'll share it. I'll share it here. They're my go-to now for a bunch of stuff. 2 seconds. Yeah, it's just Mobbin. Why isn't it letting me? There it is. Yeah, loads of screens, makes competitive analysis super easy. Just like really nice. Do you have any experience with freelancing? I certainly do. I started off freelancing pretty early on in my career. And I hated the business admin side of it. too much paperwork, too much client management, etc. So I stopped freelancing. I prefer stability in a way, but kind of some of the things I'm thinking about would get me back into freelancing, but a little bit differently. Not quite design execution, but more as like advisement and consultation for larger companies and larger design orgs, because that's kind of what I do now. So yeah. Uh, so I'm just reading back all the comments of like when I was showing a black screen. It's under NDA. FOMO. Okay. Well, I'm going to be sharing more about it. Like, I think I start sharing it in June. So if any of what I said apparently didn't show, sounded interesting to you, like please just like keep tabs on my stuff, especially like my Substack. That's where I'm going to be sharing it out first. That's where I share most things first. But my phone is going to die on TikTok. Ash, you're asking where you can get my learning guide. Where can you get my learning guide from TikTok? Hmm. Just go to uxsurvival.guide. I can't post it. My phone's gonna die. That's where you have to go. Also, just go to the link in my bio. Just like go ahead and click off this live and go and there it is. And you'll find it. I believe in you. Cool. Nice. All right, guys. I think I'm going to end the stream there, mostly because my phone is dying, but really great questions. Thanks for indulging me and listening to this like challenge idea. Actually, I think it's going to be really, really good. I think it's just going to really help designers show off their skills, practice their skills far better than anything else that I've seen. Some of the other like kind of things like that, but also like light touch and all super fun. And yes, I think I saw somebody ask like, will I be reviewing some of the um, outputs from it? Yes, absolutely. So totally awesome. Thanks guys for joining, and I'll catch you in the next one. Cheers. Do this daily. No.